Good day friends. In the previous chapter titled Vishwaroop Darshan Yog, we learnt about the ways to realize God. We were enlightened by the Vishwaroop of the all-pervasive Supreme Lord Krishna. All mortal beings are a part of this supreme form and he pervades this entire universe. Arjuna stands shocked on seeing the enormous Chaturbhuj form of the Lord. He experiences emotions ranging from extreme fear to intense delight. The emotional upheavals are important for us as they make us understand that sadness and happiness are the two sides of the same coin. When we understand this concept, we become Sthir Pragya, which means remaining stable in all situations. Today, we will talk about Bhakti Yoga, which is the 12th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. What it teaches can also be proved scientifically. An organism can be broken down to an organ system, which can further be broken down to organs, then tissues, cells, molecules, atoms, electrons, protons and neutrons, and finally energy. This is the form of Krishna. How can we witness this energy with our normal eyes? So Arjuna was endowed with the divine sight. This chapter is extremely profound and difficult to decipher. But after having a proper knowledge of this chapter, a devotee can move towards ultimate bliss. This chapter deals with 4 issues. Which form of the Lord is better, manifested or expressed form, or unmanifested or unexpressed form? How do we attain peace? How can we stabilize our mind? What do we understand by love? Krishna explains to Arjuna that there are 2 types of yogis. Those who seek oneness with the Absolute, considering Him as impersonal and unrelated to the universe. They rely on their self. And the second type are those who seek unity with the personal God, manifested in the world of man and nature. The question that Arjuna asks is, which of these is better? Should we indulge in idol worship or should we refrain from idol worship? Practically, both the concepts are the same, which can be equated to painting an image by witnessing a scenery. And those who seek the unmanifested Lord reach the same goal. But the conduit taken up by the latter is laborious because he has to practice paramount self-control, renounce the world, do away with all human emotions and desires, and train the mind in the contemplation of the Supreme God. Lord Krishna explains to Arjuna that it will be easier if he prays and concentrates on the Lord in the manifested form, as concentrating on the unmanifested form is a very difficult task for the worldly people. It is also extremely difficult to fix the restless mind on the formless. Such a method of contemplation demands a sharp, one-pointed, and subtle intellect. This holds true for the worldly beings. It becomes simpler for us to devote ourselves to the Supreme Lord in the manifested form. Krishna further says, Arjuna, to get rid of all the miseries, you should concentrate on me. Renounce your ego and limitations and surrender yourself to me. Krishna tells Arjuna to regard him as the supreme goal. All mortal beings should do the same. Krishna urges the mankind to realize him through meditation with unswerving devotion amid all the confusion that prevails. But this task is not easy. It is difficult to understand and even perplexes Arjuna. So Krishna tells him to practice the same. If he is unable to do that, then also he should meditate. And last but not the least, one should simply leave the results of karmafal and not focus on the outcome. This means renouncing the fruits of action. Generally, we waste our energies in worrying about the future results of our present actions. Here, Krishna urges to curb these anxieties and fears about the future and do the work without any desire of the fruit by surrendering all the fruits of action to Him. This will lead us towards peace. Human beings simply understand the body. You can become stable by renouncing the results. There are two words, love and devotion. They are very powerful. Love is the next superlative form of devotion. Krishna tells Arjun about the qualities of his favorite devotee. He says, a devotee doesn't hate anyone. He is a person who is friendly with all and is free from all egos. He is ever forgiving and contented. He is calm and composed in all adversities. He has mastered his passions and focuses his mind on Lord Krishna. He is free from joy and anger. He is free from fear and anxiety. He is beyond pleasure and hatred. He is beyond sorrow and desires. He has abandoned the fruits of all actions, good or bad. Such a devotee remains contented with whatever he has. Such a devotee has a stable mind. Such a devotee is very dear to Lord Krishna. These are the qualities Lord Krishna appreciates in his devotees, and such devotees are very dear to him. Therefore, in this chapter, Lord Krishna explains to the entire humanity through Arjun the correct way to reach the Lord by following the path of bhakti and devotion.